So welcome to the Swedish National Television.
Thank you very much. I'm delighted.
Oh, thank you. So I figured I'd start off with the essential questions. So I'm getting real deep right now. What do you consider to be the essence of soul music?
It's too early to be so deep.
Is it?
Yes, it's just too early for that.
Okay. Do you want to try to elaborate
Yeah,
on
we'll
it?
come back to that towards the end.
Okay. Because if we start off here in Detroit, your hometown, I visited New Bethel Baptist Church, which, by the way, was beautiful.
Correct.
Yeah, the rebuild of it. If you reminisce, could you recall what it felt like, you know, being there, listening to your father, Reverend Franklin's sermons? Could you remember what you felt?
Don't want to start off on that note either.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Do you want to start off with the secular music or with Lauryn Hill?
Sure, let's start there. That's a good start.
Okay. So in those days, when you put out a lot of records, what was it like business-wise? What was expected from you as an artist if you compare it to today's artist?
If I compared it to today, I would say that it's pretty much the same.
If we talk about Detroit as your hometown, what does it mean today to you?
Oh, what does Detroit mean for me today? Well, it's still home. It is still the place where my family and friends are closest. I do a lot of recording here, a lot of production work, a lot of TV work here. The city is still a rallying and caring and supportive kind of city. And I love Detroit.
What do you think that has meant for you as an individual and as an artist, the surroundings of New Bethel Baptist Church?
Oh, there is no question that the church made one of the biggest contributions to my musical career, in as much as it was something of a training ground for me as a young performer, young singer, just to be able to stand and learn how to sing before people. And it was somewhat a launch before the real launch, which was Atlantic Records. And going out on the road with my dad and singing before thousands of people, it helped me in what would later become my concert career. What it gave me, I think, was a confidence that that is there today.
Were you ever nervous, of course, at the beginning?
A little bit, yeah, a little bit.
When did you set that vocal signature, you think, in your career?
I don't know. Perhaps early on, I guess, maybe traveling with my dad and in making, not a transition, but broadening my horizons by signing with Columbia Records in the early 60s, 1962.
I don't know how to express this in English, but the runs you do up and down, the kind of that I think is significant for your signature voice. How did you come up with that? When was that happening?
I don't know. I guess those things kind of happened early on, and they just they were a constant, and they are a constant.
So when you grew up here, how was music addressed at your home? I understand through your biography that a lot of people came and
there was music everywhere. Music pouring out of the windows and out of the front door, and music in the living room, and there's music going upstairs, and music in my brother's room, and somebody's playing a record player over here. Just music all over the house. And I just kind of absorbed a lot of it, I guess.
So how did you go about your musical education? Did you like listen to the radio and play by ear?
I played by ear. And then my dad wanted to get a teacher for me, which I didn't want. And I thought it was far too infantile for me to have this teacher. Why I wanted to be like an intermediate music student rather than play from this elementary book. And I don't know how I thought I was going to get to intermediate without going through the basic fundamentals of it. But anyway, I wasn't having any of it, so I would take off and hide whenever she would come. And
what, actually hide from the lessons?
hide from the teacher.
Yeah.
And come out when she was gone. That's a terrible thing. But I just wasn't having any of the elementary lessons. I just really didn't want it. And so I continued to play by ear. And I'm glad that I did, because I developed a certain style, I think, that is unique to me. But I also realized what it was I missed in not doing so, being able to sight read very quickly, or just pick up a piece of sheet music and say, oh, okay, that's what that is. Put it there, and you play it. Or it would have helped me to relate to my musicians a little easier as well, my rhythm section, my conductor, and convey to him exactly what it is I want musically today. So without going through a class, I still pick up and study musical terms so that I might convey and express myself a little more articulately musically.
So how do you write the music that you write?
I just play it, I don't write it.
Yeah. So you come into the studio and just play it for the producers and the other producers. So what makes you decide on a song?
What makes me decide on a song?
Yeah.
I have no set formula. It just depends on the song and perhaps where I am at the time.
Is there a conscious move in kind of picking the kind of proud songs, or, you know, portraying the strength of women?
I just like songs that are musically appealing to me. I think that Lauren knows what it is she wants out of the music industry. She's a very together young lady. She's very well written and spoken and articulate, and I like her.
What was it like working with her? I mean, you were her idol, that I know.
Okay, wonderful. It was very easy, actually. She had just delivered an adorable little boy by the name of Zion, and her mother came with her. And we sat in the control room and we talked pre-project and pre-recording. And I let her know when I was ready to begin recording. And she sat behind the boards, and occasionally she would say, just a moment, I have to take a break. And when she came back and she sat down, I was observing something that I thought was a little different than what I had seen to begin with. She had a very large swell in front of her.
Oh.
And I couldn't quite figure, and then I said, oh, I know, okay. She's feeding the baby. So she was sitting at the boards and she was feeding the baby too, and it was like the blanket was over his head. And she was still sitting there taking care of business and being mom at the same time.
Right.
Yeah.
So is now a good time to go into the kind of essence of soul music? Would you like to talk about it?
I know it's a kind of talking. We'll come back to that.
We'll come back to that. Yeah. Okay. So about Miss Mary J. Blige. I mean, you worked with her for several occasions. So what's she like? What do you think about her?
Actually, she's very quiet, kind of quiet. We chit-chatted a little bit in the studio, but I think Mary J. is kind of into her lyric until she's ready to sing. She's just kind of into what she's going to do, I think. And she's just kind of quiet. We just didn't quite hit it off there. And Diana Ross wound up getting the song Upside Down. I enjoy it, and I enjoyed a lot of the artists, but I myself was not a disco artist.
So on Atlantic, when you had a huge hit with Respect. Oh, by the way, on Respect, I know that you collaborated with your sister Carolyn, and you came up with that line, "Suck it to me, baby." So on the record, what was that all about? What was the meaning of that line from the beginning?
Suck it to me,
yeah.
Suck it to me. Actually, it was the "Suck it to me" line that was written by my sister and I, Carolyn, was a quip and slang or lingo that was happening at the time in the 60s in Detroit. A lot of people were saying, sock it to me. That was the new hot word. Like, you know what I'm saying, is today. So we just incorporated that in respect, and then the TV show Laugh-In picked it up, and it just became a worldwide kind of thing. Everybody picked that up. But it meant, like, give it to me, sock it to me, give it to me, lay it on me, that kind of thing.
Did you consider the political level it was on when you first sang it?
No,
Had
I did
that
not.
meaning to you?
No, at the time, no. As time went on, I realized the political impact of it, if you will, or the political, the relatedness of what was happening in the country at that time, and the song. Respect is a tremendous factor. It's first, it starts with you, and it begins with you. Because usually I think when you do respect yourself, other people respect you. So, not all the time, but most of the time.
What would you say is the kind of the greatest learning experience that you had from life, speaking from respect point of view?
Well, I don't think I've had it yet.
Okay.
So let's keep rolling right along.
Right? So in order to survive and keep...
From respect, certainly many experiences, though, many growing experiences, and realizing the effects of respect versus no respect.
So what do you focus on as a person, as an individual, to keep on surviving, to keep on growing as a person? What is your major focus?
I just do. I have nothing specific that I can tell you that I do. I just do.
So are there any like turning points of your life when you said that, stop, I'm not going to do this, or now I'm going to move on to this, like specific turning points that you'd like to share with us?
Well, smoking, for one.
Yeah?
You know, 90, 91, yeah.
You quit?
I quit smoking, and I went... I just blew up, you know, like 70 pounds maybe overweight. And I have been dealing with and fighting it ever since. That's just one of the things.
Did it affect your voice as well, stop smoking?
No. When I stopped, certainly for the better. I should have stopped like 20 years ago, and wished I had. But anyway, yes, there's a definite difference. The clarity, the range, and everything. Definite difference. I never should have smoked.
You know, you visited Sweden back in 1968 in Stockholm. I know you watched the tape as well. What comes to mind when you see that footage?
I enjoyed it very, very much. It was a wonderful look back to the 60s and what we did there. It was very, very nostalgic and memorable, and it was really wonderful.
Did you recall the specific concert?
Yes.
What do you recall?
Pardon me, I just could not think of the name of the venue where we had been.
Yeah.
Excuse me, I had dinner just before I came. But it was a wonderful evening. I know that evening the prince, as I told you, the prince and princess were there, and the whole, the club was just abuzz with the prince and princess are here, the prince and princess are here, and they're on the front row, and that kind of thing. So it was just very exciting for us as young artists coming from America, our first time being in Sweden, and we were treated wonderfully. It was everything that I thought it would be, and I'm looking forward to coming back.
We sure hope you do, though. Come back to Sweden. So just to finish off, I still like to ask you the question that I began with, kind of in-depth question. What do you consider to be the essence of soul music, according to Aretha Franklin?
I think that there are probably many essences of soul music. Like there is soul in country music, and there is soul in R&B, and there is soul in the arias. So I think probably I prefer not to try and articulate it or decipher it, and just to sing it and just let it be what it is. That's it.